Welcome to the Insurance Playbook Podcast, the show that pulls back the curtain on the insurance industry and gives you the stories, strategies, and insider tips you need to win. Sponsored by Spark AI Partners. Now, today's guest has over 5 decades of experience and a story that proves there's still gold in the old school. From selling policies door to door in the 70s to building million-dollar niche programs, Rick Bersnak has mastered the art of finding opportunity where no one else is looking. In this episode, Rick shares how he built a thriving business, ensuring the uninsurable, what it takes to stay passionate after 53 years in the game, and why the secret to success isn't selling, it's serving. If you've ever wondered how to stand out in a crowded industry, this is your playbook. Well, Rick, I'm super happy to have you on here all the way from Dublin, Ohio. We were talking here a little bit, and I got a brief preview of some of your history in the insurance industry, but take me back to the inception of your career 40 years ago. How did that start? Why did you get into insurance?
Yeah. Actually, it was 53 years ago. This week.
53 years ago.
This week.
Wow.
Yeah. Just out of dumb luck, to be not trying to be funny. I had a couple job interviews.
Mm-hmm.
There were about 8 of us from my undergraduate school that moved to Columbus in the early 70s. So we just got out on the streets and were looking for jobs, and I was looking for a sales job. And a friend suggested that I interview with a small Midwestern insurance company here in Columbus. So I did. And then just out of dumb luck, the person that I interviewed with, my initial interview, had gone to the same college I'd gone to and graduated 2 years before. So I got a little bit of luck there. But I interviewed for an underwriting position, trainee, marketing rep, just any entry level job that was available at the time. Specifically, remember, it was $800 a month, a salary. And so I rode with a marketing rep that went out and called on agents. I rode with him for a couple of days. Then I sat with an underwriter for a couple of days, and I decided I wanted to be outside rather than inside. So at that time, it was a captive insurance company. And so you could only represent that company. Sort of like
Yep.
Nationwide, which State Farm was back in the 70s. So I took that job, and that's kind of how I started out, selling friends and family and people I met through golf and just referrals. I mean, the old-fashioned. I just out of dumb luck, I picked up a big account that first year, big contractor. The commission was about $5,000 for the year. That was a pile of money back then. And I really liked the concept of commissions, and then the fact that the renewal commissions with this company were the same. So I understood the concept of building your book of business and growing it out. From there, I only did that about 2 years because this big account I got, which was a big account to me at the time, they started growing. And so I went to them and I said, look, as you're growing, I'm going to need to have access to more insurance companies. And so I formed an independent agency, actually with a life insurance guy. And we did that for 5 years. So we sent each other leads. He'd send me casualty leads. I'd send him life leads. We were all in our mid to late 20s, all my friends and family. And I married into a family. My wife's one of 12 kids. So, that was a nice group to write insurance for. Some of them worked. But my wife was from here in Columbus, so I had a lot of good contacts. That was a good start for me. So I did that for 4 years. Then I went to a national broker, and the general manager was Willis is the company now, but it was called Corona Black. Really started doing my homework on the industry and distribution. And I met a guy at a golf tournament actually, and he said, well, why don't we get together? And he said, I'll tell you what our firm is like, but I'm always looking for sales guys. So I interviewed with him. I spent 6 years there. They let me take 2 years off and go to graduate school at Ohio State. So I worked part-time, and they paid me my full salary, but I went to classes and did that for 2 years till I got my MBA in the late 70s, 79 or 80. Then they made me sales manager. We were the largest property and casualty agency in the state. At that time, we had probably 120 employees, which was a lot back then. And so I was there for 6 years, um, and just selling and growing the commercial book of business. I had probably 8 or 9 salesmen working for me. So I was the sales manager, and that probably covered 80% of the business of the agency. And then I didn't get the president's job, and I got mad about that. So I started my own agency in 1984. But I didn't have a non-compete. So I was able to legally take some accounts. And at that time, I was concentrating mostly on manufacturing, distribution, special lines, errors and omissions. I've never done much with medical malpractice, dental malpractice, contractors. I've had a few contractors over the years, but I wrote my thesis on target marketing and sales compensation. And my theory was really niche marketing, identifying a niche, finding special products for that niche that most Main Street companies don't like to write, like pollution liability or publishers' errors and omissions, things like that. So I really focused on the types of business I wanted to insure. So from there,
Can I ask you a question on that real quick before we get too far? How did you know which niche to pick? Did you have an experience in that area, or had you had people reach out to you before and you just couldn't insure them, or how did you get into that?
no, I really didn't. In all seriousness, I figured it out as I went along. The first big opportunity I had was, and this was with my old company, was writing real estate brokers' errors and omissions insurance.
Mhm.
And I actually worked with the guy. My client was the guy that invented multiple listing service.
Wow.
He printed picture books that the realtors used. He had 6 plants around the country, about 100 sales guys, scattered in the major cities all over the country. So I just kind of learned that one by doing, and that got to be a big program. I had to leave it behind because I did have a non-compete on that particular account. But I just sort of, I'd look for niches, industries where insurance companies, the regular companies, CNA, Travelers, Chubb, the Hartford, where they really didn't want to write that line of business. We called it class underwriting at the time.
Mhm.
So the next niche I got involved in was I got to know the small business partner at Arthur Anderson when they were in business. And I'd have lunch with him from time to time. And he told me about a company that he did the audits on that treated people's yards with fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides. And it turned out to be a company called Barefoot Grass, which eventually became Service Master. I know. Are you familiar with Service Master?
No, I don't know that they're here locally. Maybe they are.
I'm pretty sure they are. It's a national company. But anyhow,
Okay.
the problem there was regular liability policies did not cover the damage that the applicators did to your yard. They might put the wrong fertilizer or herbicide on your yard, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the yard's dead. And all liability policies at that time excluded any form of pollution liability. So I found an insurance company that specialized in insuring pollution risks.
Mhm.
So I would write a separate side policy for that. After about 20 years, I had about $4 million worth of premium. So that was probably 800,000 in commissions. And of course, as I went along through that, I developed a nice support staff too. So
Mhm.
that was the first niche I got involved with. And then, I started on this thing with the insurance companies about, it probably would have been around 07 or 08. And just did the same thing. Learned the business. The policies were a lot different than what I was used to writing for uh, standard lines, Main Street business, we call it, and sort of morphed into that. So I did my homework on the industry, of the product and the service, and then I looked for the right insurance company. And it's a struggle. I started to say it was a pretty easy sale. But once you find a niche like that, if they can't buy, the business owner can't buy the coverage in the marketplace, it makes the sale a lot easier. And
Yeah.
you get to learn their business as well. which is one of the keys, in my opinion, is learning their business so you can talk their language rather than just trying to peddle policies.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um, and then is that so that was still in the 80s when you started that niche, and then where did your career take you after?
Well, it brought me here.
But you sold, so you had told me offline, you sold your business that you had grown, right?
Oh, yeah. I took those accounts with it. They don't all go with it. You know that.
Yeah.
So I took the key accounts that I didn't have a non-compete on, and that's what I started my business with.
Mhm. And then
The
you
last,
sold your business. You got acquired?
I thought you said you stole your business.
Oh, no, 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 sorry.
Yeah. Uh, I did. I sold my business in 2010.
Okay. So
Yeah.
15 years ago, and then you wrote out a non-compete
Right.
and to your non-compete, and then now you're VP of sales, but also still a writing agent at the Keenan agency.
Yes. I mean, I'm exclusively a producer
Okay.
here
Yep.
in the agency. I have no management responsibilities, but it's a family owned business, father and son. So I do get brought into company meetings and, just general. I have two support people that help me. And so we have sort of an informal team. They support the accounts I write when I bring them in. So, but like I said, I have no hiring, no firing. Don't have to worry about hitting payroll every month or every other
Yeah.
month, week, things like that. It's really a sweetheart deal here.
Yeah. Well, you're you are 78 years old now. And some I mean, some of the generation now, I mean, just any insurance producers, right? It's hard when you wake up to, put on your shoes, put on your pants, get out the door, go write another day because there's headaches and there's problems and there's just things you don't want to deal with. Why and how at 78 do you continue to come every day with enthusiasm? Like what fires you up about doing what you do?
I can't figure it out. And I'm not trying to be funny. I like people. I like to talk. I like solving problems. I like the money. I don't know if I mentioned I had 7 kids, 15 grandkids.
Hmm.
It takes a few dollars to support that in the role of grandpa and grandma. So I have no problem getting up in the morning. When that day comes, I'll quit. I picked up a big account here in April. Big for us. It was a million four in premium. It's an 83,000 acre farm in the South. I learned all that stuff from scratch
Hmm.
about, about insuring a big corporate farm, and as did my two associates. But they were getting such lousy service from the company they were with. It was a very strong referral from an associate of mine, a life insurance guy, that another person we shared leads back and forth. And I've sent him leads over the years. And he just called me and he said, I've got a friend and a client here. And I think their insurance is a mess. They'd had a couple uninsured claims. And so I met with them. It took me about a year, about 15 months to put it together and make the sale. We had the most fun putting that together. It was a real challenge. And those are the things that I like doing, analyzing the account, cleaning it up, showing them where they should be self-insured on some things, using their premium dollars more effectively,
Hmm.
and looking for holes in their coverage. I
Hmm.
just don't know why this business fascinated me so much. I've never gotten tired of it. And
Yeah.
I'm not a country club guy. I don't sell through church or the country club or organizations. I don't belong to Kiwanis, or I just developed a knack for finding new opportunities, I guess. It's
Hmm.
crazy. Yeah. And I think
I
I'm
think,
fascinated with the contracts too, and the way you match the insurance contract to the business.
what do you mean by that specifically?
Well, in other words, if one prospect had 20 Pizza Huts, he was a franchisee for Pizza Hut, or, think of McDonald's. The way you would structure his insurance is going to be a lot different than the way I structured the farm insurance.
Hmm.
And we start with the basics. We start, what is the business? What is the real business of this farm? What do they do? Well, they grow for on their own land as well as other people's land, soybean, corn, cotton, and rice. And how do they move it around? How do they harvest it? How do they plant it? How do they fertilize it in the fields? The equipment, do they insure it? Do they not insure it? Uh, we analyze their contracts to see what the contracts, their lending agreements require them to buy coverage and what types of coverage. So it's a real analytical process for us.
Yeah.
With that pizza franchise with 10, 20 locations, the most we would have to do would be to look at their leases and their franchise agreement for the types of coverage they're required to carry. So we take a business approach to it and then look at the insurance policies and how best to insure the business rather than saying, I can't tell you how long. I never come in and say, what if I save you 20% on your business? Can I get the account? The price is always number 3 or number 4 for us. We just don't sell price.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's part of it's just pure selling and analyzing what the insurance needs are.
Hmm. Well, I think nowadays that, I mean, what I got out of that is that you actually enjoy what you do. There's a lot of people that they just want to sit on a beach and do nothing. And that's in their mind, at least, that's their version of happiness, is doing no work. And
Nothing.
yeah, I think that the secret, what I just got out of what you're saying, is that you enjoy being challenged, that every
Well,
case makes you learn something different. And
well,
I mean, the components there that are moving of like talking with people, strategic thinking, presenting, like you're able to stay sharp, but you actually enjoy learning and working.
I do. Well, part of it, the work ethic comes from your parents most of the time,
Mhm.
your family. And we don't have enough time to get into this generational work ethic, if you know where I'm going. The work ethic is changes from generation to generation. I mean, I'm not a guy that when I walk in the door at home, I put it down. I might look
Yep.
at my phone once to see if I got a message from somebody I was working on something, but I'm not checking that phone 7 days a week. I might peek at it over the weekend, but I am able to put it down. I like my golf. This year I started playing golf on Wednesday mornings and Friday mornings with a group of guys I've known for years. But I get home, shower, and I'm in you know for an afternoon. And
Yeah.
I don't do the 60-hour week work weeks anymore. I used to do 50 to 60-hour work weeks.
Hmm.
And I had one stretch of time where I had 3 kids in college plus a wedding one year. So I didn't get too many breathers.
Yeah. You got to work, work, work.
Yeah, and keep them in cars and and lab fees and whatever.
Yep. Yep.
It's so I'm lucky. I told you at the beginning of this conversation, I got lucky. I just saw something in the business I liked.
Hmm. I think that's super
Yeah,
important
yeah.
too.
And you're right. People today, especially if they're educated and hard workers, they do have a luxury of picking their profession or their careers. I mean, everybody needs really good, smart people. And I don't mean the A students, with the 4 points. Give me a B student with a great work ethic, and I'll teach him what he needs to know about the insurance business. Yeah, give me the work ethic and a desire to learn. I could teach him the insurance business if he likes people, and he can sell. If he can sell an intangible, that's
Yeah.
that's one thing I've always wondered if I could sell tangible products.
You wondered if you could?
Yeah, I know I could, but I
Oh
always
yeah.
wondered about if I got into industrial sales or big time sales.
Yeah. Well, they say that some people say insurance is the hardest because you'll never taste it, feel it, touch it. I mean, well, life insurance, you don't use it till you're dead. With,
Yeah,
other ones, you might have a claim and actually be able to see that it's real. But yeah, you've got to be able to connect the benefits and features and to what's important for
I've
them.
had accounts over the years, they never have any claims. Their premiums might be, 100, 100 and a quarter a year. Those are well-managed companies, and that's why they don't have claims. But sometimes you think, geez, they paid me all these premiums. I wouldn't mind having a little claim just to deliver, you know?
Right.
But yeah, it's a fascinating business. It really is.
Yeah. So speaking of the business here as well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? Like the
Yeah.
picture that we can sometimes paint is, hey, if we stick in it, we'll be able to play golf, have flexibility, just those benefits. What are some of the headaches that you've gone through or things that you struggled with and maybe had to adjust the way that you deal with them to be able to be successful and happy in the insurance industry?
Well, there are two sides of that. Number one's the company people. The way in general, I'm going to once again talking about the large carriers. We represent most of the large carriers here. So it's the way they're continually restructuring, like they're trying to find themselves. They'll expand and they'll have their marketing people calling on you all the time. And then they'll retract and you don't hear from them for a while. They'll change product lines or change underwriting postures. And you find out, it's not communicated well. So I'm very frustrated with the quality of the support from the big insurance companies. They're not good communicators. They're good at telling you after the fact. And they're not here in the office looking for business. They want to do
Hmm.
everything over the internet. And I'm in the people business. And I mean that sincerely. So that the major insurance company, and I think they're trying to get nichey. They've got construction underwriting units and they've got service underwriting units. So they're help me out here. They're setting their niches, their own internal niches up about the types of business they want. And I've always thought, a general book of business was pretty good, even though I became a niche marketer.
Hmm.
So I get frustrated there. The digital side, I'm all on board. I like the use of digitization and the use of digital marketing and transacting business. But most of these companies are still on their own proprietary platform, so it's makes that a little harder to transact business.
Hmm.
So I don't want to attack my industry on the underwriting side, but yeah, I'm a little frustrated in it. And then on the client side, I think we have smarter policyholders now, smarter business people. I really do. The business owners are more sophisticated. They understand their product. They understand their marketing of their product. They understand contracts much better. So I think the customer is a much savvier insurance customer these days because they're better
Hmm.
business. I truly believe that.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, so I'm always in the middle. I got the insurance companies here. I try to sell myself to the business owner. Then I try to take their account and I got to go back and sell it to the insurance company. So it's a kind of a double-ended sales process.
Yep. Grant Cardone, if you know who he is. Okay. He's like big in sales coaching and stuff like that. But and he's in real estate, but he says always be selling. Every interaction is a sale, the way that you deal with people. And just like you said, on both ends of the spectrum, you gotta sell it to both sides.
The only guy I've paid a lot of attention to on the sales coaching and training side is, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name now. He's out of Philadelphia. He's about my age. He's got to be my age. Shoot, I'll email you his name. He's the best I've been to two of his seminars. It's the
Oh yeah.
best sales seminar I've ever been to. What the heck is his name? I can see his
Well,
face. I'll text it to you. He'd be a good guy for you to interview. He really knows his stuff.
what did you learn from him that was like one of your favorite things about sales?
Well, the people business piece, the people piece.
Hmm.
Yeah, I did that. I was comfortable with it, but he really validated it for me. I'm embarrassed. I can't think of the guy's name. I can see his face.
It's always when you need it that
Yeah.
you can.
Oh yeah. So that's
Uh,
probably the best one that I can think of off the top of my head.
yeah, yeah. Some of the the favorites that uh, the favorite sales things that I think apply in our industry for me, um, well, I don't know. I think there's a ton, but some of them, well, would be always agree with the customer first. But that goes
First.
into people business. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but, and then I would say for me, one of the big ones is confidence. Like I've seen a lot of athletes come in. You don't have to be an athlete to be in sales, but a lot of the people in sales that you didn't think would be maybe successful, they weren't scholars, they got bad grades, then they get into sales and they do really well. And I think and this is just my perspective here, but their confidence goes before them. Like they're so confident in whatever they do that it just happens. And I think there's ways that we can gain confidence. And I teach my agents, like, what are you the best at? You might not be the best at everything. You might not be the best at product knowledge. You might not be the best, like on 10 things, but there's one thing that you're the best at. And even if it's just taking care of the client, like I'm going to do whatever I can to take care of this client, and you can be the best at that and internalize that, then their confidence is going to go up a lot, and the clients feel that.
Yeah. No, you've got to have confidence the minute you walk in the door. I mean, I was somewhat of an athlete, but certainly not at the college level. I like to feel I'm a competitor. To me, and that's one of the things I like about this business. You can measure your success. I still keep track of new business. My year to date, just new business, new customers to the firm. I just got them. So I like to measure performance, but there's got to be substance behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, we're a suburb of Columbus, so Ohio State. So we see a lot of athletes going into banking, finance, and it's interesting to see the really bright ones that they're used to performing at a high level, but they back it up with product knowledge, and they're not just leaning on their athletic career, which could be 2 years or not at all if they didn't make it in the NFL. And then
Right.
there's some great ones around here that had terrific sales career,
Yeah.
but they learned their product but they had great people skills. Great
Yep.
people skill. They were used to being coached and coaching. So,
Yep.
yeah,
I think that's a really good point. Sometimes you have to always back it up with product knowledge. Might not come at first, but yeah, the more and more you can learn, the more of a weapon you become in the industry.
absolutely.
Coming from somebody who's been an agent, agency owner, now back to producer, 53 years in the industry, what would your number one piece of advice be for somebody starting out?
People, people, people. You have to like people. You have to be a people person. And as my saying, what I like to say to people is, I'm in the people business. I'm still in the people business. I'm not peddling policies.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, yeah.
Have you noticed how that's served you versus other people who may have peddled policies in your career?
Well, yeah. Yeah. It's served me well. And there are times I run into prospects who are, in fact, mostly when I was with the national broker, there are CFOs and treasurers and business owners who only want to do business with a national broker, just like they want their audits done by a national one of the, was it top five now? I can't keep track of the accounting firms. But
Mhm.
so they want to do business to business. I don't always win that battle. I'm selling myself. In fact, now that I'm thinking out loud here, I always wanted, if somebody said to someone else, who do you have your insurance with? They weren't happy where they were at, claim got denied maybe, or didn't get paid the way they, so they ask a friendly competitor or their brother-in-law, who's writes your insurance, who you working with. I always want them to say Rick Bersnak first. Call Rick Bersnak. I've done business with him for years. I don't want them to call the Keenan agency. It's a very selfish way of looking at it. But I try to sell myself first, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yep. I think
Yeah.
that I've heard that echoed on many of these podcasts. In
Have you?
one word or another, you mentioned not peddling policies, but people business. But ultimately doing what's right for the customer and just taking
Yeah.
care of them. You know, and in today's day and age, that's not what people want to hear. You know, it's not
Yeah.
it's not like get into the business and get a bunch of clients super quick and get rich and build it. You know, it sometimes it comes a little slower, but that word of mouth I think still exists. You know, that when you treat
Oh,
people
yeah.
right, it'll your business will thrive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
That's
you
exactly right.
guys advertise at the Keenan agency?
Very small. We do some local stuff. Keenan, Mike, who is a couple years younger than me, he's the father and the owner, principal owner. He was the mayor of Dublin.
Hmm.
Dublin, I don't know if you're familiar with Dublin. It's a suburb northeast of Columbus. It's had incredible growth over the years. Jack Nicklaus, if you're a golfer at all, he has his personal club here. It's a
Okay.
big golf community, but we have a lot of corporate headquarters here now. And so we do a little bit of local advertising. Some of the national stuff I do, I'm just thinking of doing something for my insurance company practice. There are, well, thousands, several thousand small insurance companies. So I was thinking about doing some digital marketing. We even did a small digital project of 1,000 names on my latest project, and we got 8 responses. That's not too bad in
Hmm.
digital. The way you contacted me.
Right, right. That's awesome. Good that
Yeah,
you guys have so much word of mouth referral business.
yeah. It's a lot of it's word, just referral by name because the Keenan
Yep.
name is what, but mostly business to business. We've worked with one company and they refer me to another company.
Yeah.
And these presidents of these small insurance companies change too. They
Hmm.
don't. Some of them stay forever. I got one client. He's the third generation running this little mutual company that we insure.
Oh
It's over a
wow.
hundred. It's over 100 years old, and the family has controlled it, run it for that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got I interviewed somebody and he's I think he's was fourth or fifth generation uh in his insurance business.
really. Agency side or company side?
Agency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So would that go back to the 20s, maybe?
I have to look. I think it was before then.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. It was quite a while.
Yeah,
I think that was Reardon. I could be wrong, but
yeah.
anyway,
Can you see this policy that's on the wall? It's right behind me. The
the
big white.
Westchester.
No, the other one. This bigger one right
Oh, okay,
here.
I can't read it.
2 pages.
Yeah,
The policy date on that's 1836, and it was an old mutual.
yeah, yeah. That that's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I know we're almost out of time. One more question, and you don't have to give me a super long answer, but if you, as far as industry trends, do you see any industry trends that people need to absolutely adopt or get on board with to be able to thrive in the industry in insurance?
trends. Trends.
Yeah,
Uh,
changes, trends.
it depends on what part of the business you want to go into. If you're going to
Right.
go into the underwriting side, marketing side, strong math background, I think the industry's done a disservice to itself by not hiring people with math backgrounds and tech backgrounds and then teach them the insurance business. I sometimes I feel they don't want to pay a lot for entry level people, but
Mhm.
with people you get what you pay for. You hire
Yep.
those top students, you're going to get some pretty bright people. So that's one thing I'd like to see. I'd like to see insurance companies go back. When I got in the business, a lot of the companies had their own training programs for agents and for new hires, and they taught you. You'd go to them for maybe 2 to 4 weeks. St. Paul Insurance Company had them. USF&G had them. Travelers had great training programs. They're not investing money in the industry themselves on people. They're doing it internally on employees, but they're not trying to bridge that gap between agent or insurance company and the producers. I think they should do more because that's what would drive business to them. to somebody a couple of days ago. They asked me, did I go to the USF&G school when I started out? There was a great liability insurance company,
Hmm.
and I didn't. But the guy that was kind of my mentor, he did, and he shared a lot of that policy language and claims adjusting that with me. So I see that. I don't think AI is the answer to all the problems in our business. I really don't.
Hmm.
So that's something I don't know that many people know what AI is going to do to business anymore. I mean, it's too
Yeah.
too young, too new to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, AI, from what I understand, is starting to be used on some of like the underwriting side, possibly pulling more data points and checking on
Yeah,
things. So it'll impact the industry. And then as far as like from a producer side, um, there are ways to be able to adopt AI that I've heard, different agency owners using, but
agency owner. That's
yeah,
interesting.
even agency owners, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is interesting.
I mean, AI I don't think it's ever going to replace producers. It's just a tool that I think, just like
Yeah,
anything, I think it's just like the internet. Early on, you could still write and the internet didn't replace producers, but it sure made it a lot easier to connect with more folks. And you don't even have paper apps. You submit an online application for somebody across the nation. Uh,
yeah, that has been terrific for our industry. Yeah, no
yeah.
question about that. Digital applications and processing. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're on the same page there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all your time. I know we're out of time here, but
No,
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, this has been awesome. And I think one of my favorite parts here is just hearing the love of people, and like every day when you go in dealing with people and like finding that love, and then also finding the love of solving problems and learning new things. I think that so many people listening to the podcast here can take that with them and really just like be able to transform their career as far as the way they look at it.
Oh, I hope
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
So absolutely. Well, if you're listening to the podcast here, you got something out of it, then please do us a favor, like it, subscribe, follow, and also DM it or share it with people who need to hear this. Insurance buddies, whoever else out there needs to hear it. So that's how we get the
Okay.
word out about this.
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna be glad.
yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.